your appointment by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome in to WTIM, your information station. My name's Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. Thanks so much to the sponsors that make it all possible. People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better. At Landmark. In the studio now, we have Jeff Stoner, Director of the Emergency Management Agency. How are you today, Mr. Stoner?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing super well. Thank you so much for being in here with us, and a very opportune time to have you in here with us because the outlook for the rest of the day, not looking too good.
Yeah, they were calling for some snow showers, which is kind of crazy with the warm weather we've been having. But
it's been flip-flopping on us out there. So we got warm weather, which is bringing tornadoes. Then we got this cool weather that's possibly bringing snow. So we got the right man in the studio to talk to us today. So let's start with tornadoes. We're kind of in that season. And this is my first time really in the central Illinois. You call it tornado belt, whatever you want to. But talk to us just a little bit generally about what the community needs to know when these storms are rolling in, when you guys really make contact with that storm.
Sure. So we are in Tornado Alley. I mean, we've been in there for a while. They said it shifts every 10 years, and it's kind of shifted into our county more. As we can see, some of the storms have followed the same path as they have in the past few years. So really what we're looking at is really want to talk about the outdoor weather sirens. They're not necessarily tornado sirens. They're that everybody thinks, well, if they go off, there's a tornado on the ground. That's not necessarily true. We set them off so if you're outside, if you're doing anything, and not next to a radio, you can go inside and seek shelter and get listen to a trusted news source on the radio or TV. So usually with the criteria of that is either an imminent threat to public safety, high winds, large hail, or even a tornado potential that's on the ground. So I know a lot of people you set the sirens off, and nothing happened. Well, right. It's just that preemptive measure we do just in case.
Absolutely. The first thought for me, I mean, I think tornado when I first hear those sirens, but okay, so we're learning now that kind of just means take cover. I mean, that is everyone's clue to take cover because the ingredients are there for a tornado. Right. It's just all about precaution.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense right there. And like Jeff Stoner said, make sure to tune into to whatever local news source you got. You'll hear it right here on WTIM with severe weather updates. But of course, so let's talk a little bit about preparedness because when you go inside, not everyone has a radio on hand. So that's something you would probably advocate for.
Yeah, definitely. Having a radio or a weather radio. Obviously tuning into your local news stations, for Springfield, Decatur, or Champaign, wherever you are. But that's definitely our Facebook page, obviously, the sheriff's app. We have a multitude of information sources that push information out to people. So
we absolutely do. Community is lucky for that. I feel like I see those Christian County Sheriff's app notifications whenever there's anything, flooding, severe weather, or anything, a road closure. So always stay tuned to those channels right there. Really important to do. So you talked a little bit about the process of having to set off that alarm. I feel like that's an interesting decision and conversations that have to be made right there. You talked about some of the aspects that you need to see, high winds and hail, but are there anything that that maybe makes that a little bit tougher of a decision, or are you pretty loose with that to make sure people are safe?
Yeah, I mean, so we're in constant contact with the National Weather Service. Each community kind of makes their own decision based off of the information that the National Weather Service provides us and them, and then we push it out. So, obviously, if there's in Pana, if there's a situation that's worse than, let's say, Mount Auburn, we're not setting sirens off across the whole county. It's just, regional based on who needs it.
Absolutely.
But the National Weather Service, we're in constant contact with them, especially during and prior to the storms. And we have a chat feature with the National Weather Service with all the counties in Illinois. So it's really a community of weather spotters, the weather storm chasers that just come in and kind of tell us that, hey, you may be on the cusp of something crazy. So
a comprehensive team right there. You need all those players to really get a fine idea of what's going on out there. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the ways you guys track things. And of course, with Christian County Emergency Management Agency, you guys cover the entire county there. You mentioned Pana and Mount Auburn. So you guys are setting off different alarms in different cities if it's needed.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, interesting. And you talk about some of the tracking with EMA. What kind of tracking do you guys do if it's not with the other factors there?
Yeah, so I mean, what we're doing is pretty much watching radar and staying with the National Weather Service. We do have a weather system that we can put on our vehicle that monitors the pressures and everything. Just like this last storm we had about a week ago, we actually did have a tornado rotating. National Weather Service could see the rotation above us. It sounded, I mean, you could hear it outside. It sounded like pretty much a train just continually rolling through, but it never had, I know there's a lot of meteorology terms, but it never had what it needed to have to drop. So they said you just see it rotating through the Hewitttville area, through Taylorville, but it never came down. So, going back to the tornado or the outdoor weather sirens, it's like that. Those are, prime opportunity for those, something to happen. So, but nothing did.
Yeah. Standing on my porch that day after I brought everything in off the porch because I knew something was coming, I could hear that. You explained it exactly right. It sounded like a train. I was like, if I didn't know any better, there was a tornado down the street because it just sounded crazy. Have you ever heard anything like that? That was a scary moment.
It's pretty interesting. It's pretty crazy, to hear that and not be able to see it too.
That was it. Just the not seeing it, I would have been more comfortable having eyes on it, I think. But that was a really wild moment right there. And is it a button that you hit for the sirens? Is it a button? Is it a switch?
Yeah, it's on a computer system, and there's a key. It's like
I was going to say, you turn a key,
turn key,
button.
hit a button.
Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. We're learning all about staying prepared for severe weather with Jeff Stoner, the director of the Emergency Management Agency. And we're right in that time right now where we don't really know what to expect. Let's talk a little bit about snowy conditions right now because we had a pretty rough winter with ice and with snow. Anything to go on there? What were you guys involved with EMA?
Hopefully with the warming of the weather, this is hopefully the last we'll see of this, the snow. But yeah, I mean, weather seems very unpredictably predictable. So it's one of those things we just have to watch and do as much as we can to be prepared for, especially in extreme cold temperatures. We set up warming shelters. We have, Red Cross on standby too. They're always willing to help. So there's a lot of things that we can do to, in cold and hot weather. So
wow, prepared for both right there. I love the sound of the warming shelters right there for some people out there maybe struggling with homelessness. Where are those set up and how much coordination is involved with that?
Yeah, so usually when the weather starts going down into the really cold temperatures, we'll activate our warming shelters, which are positioned all across the county. I mean, there's the Cedar Citizen Centers, there's, the fire departments, police departments, it's just a large array of community members and businesses that, open their doors to help those in need.
Sure.
So,
in terms of contacting the Emergency Management Agency, I wonder if people are actually contacting you guys for any questions, or would they usually be contacting their law enforcement? If there is a place that people would contact you for, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, your local fire department would be great too. I mean, I'm always open to any questions, comments, or whatever you have about anything regarding emergency preparedness or safety. Or any, large incidents around the county. So you can get a hold of me on Facebook or on the phone at 217-561-1197. And we'll chat.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Jeff Stoner is open for some inquiries about there. If you got emergency management questions out there, we're speaking right now with Jeff Stoner, the director of the Emergency Management Agency. Been learning all about staying prepared for weather, especially during this time of year. You're listening to the WTIM morning show right here on WTIM, your information station. I'm your host, Tim Zalabak. Thanks so much to the sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Your information station, WTIM.
Listen for Taylorville Tornado baseball, softball, and Little League games on New Country 104.1 and stream live on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. You'll hear selected boys baseball, girls softball, and Little League games brought to you by
Kirby Real Estate, the Christian County YMCA, Brad Davis, your Edward Jones financial advisor, and Landmark, all in Taylorville.
The purple and gold are coming your way. The Taylorville Tornadoes are gonna do it today.
As a registered nurse, I want more than just another workplace. I want a place for my nursing career to thrive. That's why I choose to work at Memorial Health. Memorial is a place where I feel valued and where I'm part of an amazing, supportive team. If that sounds like the place for you too, apply to become a Memorial nurse today. See benefits and schedule an interview online at jobs.memorial.health/nursing. Memorial is an equal opportunity employer.
The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation aims to foster, promote, and stimulate economic development, from keeping existing industry and retail businesses successful and thriving to attracting new investment in Shelby County. The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation is here to help your business grow. It also sponsors job fairs to fill positions at existing employers and encourages future entrepreneurs in the Shelby County CEO program. Find out more on the Shelby County Economic Development Corporation by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. If you're 40 and over, you'll recognize these artists by their first names: Frank, Dean, Sammy, Andy, Nat, Diana, Michael. Well, here's the big news. You can now hear Central Illinois' largest music library with over 3,500 songs on air and online at 965thechill.com. Tune in on the FM dial in Christian County and on your computer or smartphone. Hear these great artists and many more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 965thechill.com. If you're looking for a local, full or part-time job in Central Illinois, there's an easy place to go to find current job openings. It's IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. You'll find jobs available near you. And the best part is that it's free for candidates to access 24/7. If you want a local job when you don't have to spend a lot of money on gas to get to, then you want access to IllinoisJobPost.com to check out current local job openings. That web address again is IllinoisJobPost.com. Another service from your friends at the Miller Media Group.
Taylorville Estates Assisted Living encourages independence and enriches lives. Have your own apartment and enjoy 3 home-cooked meals a day. Schedule a tour and get on their waiting list by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. Find out about all the products and services we provide by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to WTIM, your information station. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. Thanks so much to the sponsors that make these conversations possible. People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark. We're speaking with Jeff Stoner, the director of the Emergency Management Agency. We had a lot of great information about severe weather, whether it be snow or tornadoes. You never know what to expect during this time of year. Now we're going to shift gears just a little bit because the Christian County Fair is coming up. We're switching gears a whole lot, folks. And concerts and safety and all of these things is very important. And for people to have fun, someone's going to have to be out there not having fun. Usually that's the Emergency Management Agency. But talk to me a little bit about your concert preparedness here.
Sure. So, a lot of people, just go and enjoy concerts and don't really realize what goes on behind the scenes. Obviously, the Christian County Fair Board has done a wonderful job to bring this, to the county this year. And a concert's going to be huge, I think, for the county and overall, especially the county fair. So with it being the 100th year, it's a special moment for them. So really what goes into us is, coordinating with local law enforcement, county law enforcement, ambulance services, fire departments, around to make sure that the concert itself has the appropriate number of medical personnel on site, on standby, creating the preparedness plan for, different events that, could potentially take place, emergency events during the concert. So a lot goes into it on the preparedness side for people just to be able to come and watch the concert and go home.
Yeah.
So.
You guys are prepared for a lot of Christian County fairs. This being the 100th year, you talk about having enough medical personnel on hand. If you see out there that maybe you're just outnumbered, what happens there? You call in for reinforcements?
Yeah, I mean, we have a good relationship, obviously, with all the departments of the county and the ambulance services with Duns and Echo. And so it's if we need more, that we can obviously get more very, very quickly.
Absolutely. So we're speaking right now about concert safety and all that is involved with the Emergency Management Agency, local law enforcement, and all types of first responders there. What do any citizens attending concerts need to do to prepare to stay safe and just have something on their mind?
I mean, just have a good time,
Sure.
and really just know that, we'll have signs up, we'll have areas up that say, where the first aid tent's going to be, the medical area is going to be. But, it's just be safe and have it. Try to enjoy yourself as much as possible.
Absolutely. And you can do that because you know that there are people out there looking out for you. You got your first responders out there, but always remember responsibility and safety, comes first out there. That is awesome. Anything left to say about concerts coming up here, Christian County?
No, it's just going to be there's going to be a lot of influx of personnel into the county. So, especially during the county fair. So just traffic wise and everything, just be patient, and don't try to rush around. Some traffic jams that may happen. So,
Speaking of patience out on the roadways out there, shifting gears one more time here because it's also the season when we're going to see big combines and a lot of farm equipment out on the road there. You got to be careful.
Right. Yeah, definitely be careful. I mean, those are very slow moving vehicles, and, it can be deceiving when certain vehicles are moving fast and certain vehicles are moving slow, how much time you have at intersections or anything. So just, take your time. I know everybody's always in a rush nowadays to get to where they're going, but, taking that extra 5 minutes just to kind of be safe going around this equipment, and that's going to save your life and save their lives. So
absolutely. That could get extremely dicey there with all of the different farm equipment that are out there just being dangerous as the farm equipment. And of course, I kind of like spending time behind that farm equipment, taking a look at it and what's going on behind, and then it'll eventually turn off. They always find the nearest road. They're good about that. All right, talking a little bit about staying safe on these country roads with the farm equipment out on the roadways. Let's talk a little bit more about the other counties, because with weather and as it's moving through the counties and even through states, I'm sure there's communication happening with other EMA agencies. You do that at all?
Yeah, really how it works for us anyway is how we follow the path from St. Louis, and it comes from St. Louis all the way through the counties through us. And it's pretty amazing how, you can just watch the chat that we're logged into, just go right across Illinois, from west to east, and just the pop-ups of what everybody's saying and what's going on in their counties. Just you can kind of paints the picture of what's coming and what's where. So
you give a pretty good estimate, because if it hits hard in this spot, maybe it loses some of its momentum, and you guys can really paint that picture.
Yeah.
I can't speak too much more on it. I'm not the professional here, but that's really awesome. How long have you been director of the EMA?
That's a good question. 3 years now, 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned there's kind of been this shift in this tornado belt, in the tornado alley there. Where was it, and where's it going?
Yeah, it was a little bit north, up more toward Champaign, from my understanding, and now it's shifted a little bit south toward us. So, yeah, we're kind of right in it.
Yeah.
So
is that something that's going to continue to move south, or isn't that, we don't really know?
Well, I'm not. I don't know much. On where the shift is going to happen in a few years, but at least I know for the next 6-7 years, we're probably right in the path of where those are going to be. So
it's good to know that, and it's good to know the sounds of our emergency alerting system with that tornado siren there. It's good to know what that means. And just to reiterate, if someone's just hopping in their car right now, if you hear that tornado siren, what does that mean to the community?
Yeah, so that pretty much means there's imminent danger to life potential for the community. So definitely turn on your radio, seek shelter. If you're driving, obviously try to find somewhere where you can seek shelter immediately, find a ditch or anything if there is a tornado coming. But yeah, definitely get on the TV, get on your weather service radio, and listen in.
Lots of homes with no basements. What are your suggestions for the safest place in the
middle of your house, place with no windows, somewhere interior, not toward the exterior walls. Crawl spaces are good. A bathtub, things like that would be the best option.
Awesome. Mr. Jeff Stoner, we're in our last minute here. Any final words for our listeners?
Obviously in times of need in your communities, our firehouses, police departments and stuff are open as well. So as emergency shelters, they have some, safety features, basements and stuff in there. But definitely get a hold of, your community centers to find a place to go.
Absolutely. Mr. Stoner, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thanks.
Absolutely. That was Jeff Stoner, Director of the Emergency Management Agency. You might have a busy day coming up here with this weather rolling in, but we're wishing you the best of luck here, keeping us all safe in the county. That's Jeff Stoner, the Director of the EMA. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. Thanks so much to the sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark. You are listening to WTIM, your information station.
Your information station.